Right now at noon, more accusations against the president's former campaign chair, what the latest legal drama involving Paul Manafort could mean for the Russia investigation. And the president says auto tariffs are being studied in response to GM's layoffs. And a community is hoping for a Christmas miracle, how they're honoring a missing Wisconsin teen this holiday season.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit. But first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has a look at your first alert forecast. Kind of a scary radar behind you.
Yeah, it looks a lot worse than it is.
Good.
And it's nice to be able to say that and not have doom and gloom. There's a little bit of gloom outside with the clouds on the increase, but Doppler track, as I mentioned, looking a lot scarier than what's actually falling. A lot of that snow may not even be hitting the ground across portions of Iowa. I think in Minnesota, better chance that that snow is hitting the ground. But we actually have a secret weapon, folks, and it's dry air from high pressure that is in town. So you see how that snow having a tough time getting into Wisconsin? I think that's going to be the case as we head into the rest of this afternoon. Tonight, though, that becomes a little bit of a different story. Temperatures are in the mid-20s, so cold weather is sticking around, but those dew points are in the teens. And when you have that much of what we call a spread between what the dew point temperature is and what the air temperature is, it's really hard for any precipitation to get close to the ground. And we are seeing the clouds, but also a little bit of sunshine in downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam. Your forecast first. Remaining cloudy this evening, then some light snow possible late tonight into early tomorrow. Temperatures staying in the 20s. We'll talk about possible accumulations and timing. Also talk about kind of a active weekend ahead of us once again in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
We'll check back. Thank you, Dave. President Trump's former campaign chair, Paul Manafort, is pushing back against accusations that he lied to the special counsel. Nicole Killian reports from Washington, D.C.
Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is denying a British newspaper report he had secret meetings with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The Guardian reports Manafort and Assange spoke several times inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London, including in 2016, just months before WikiLeaks released stolen Democratic emails. In September, Manafort agreed to cooperate with special counsel Robert Mueller in his probe of Russian election interference. But Mueller's team said this week Manafort lied to federal investigators. They did not reveal what he allegedly lied about. Now that Manafort's plea deal with the special counsel appears to be crumbling, he will likely spend the rest of his life in prison unless President Trump pardons him. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders dismissed that notion Tuesday.
I'm not aware of any conversations for anyone's pardon.
The Trump administration has acknowledged that Manafort's lawyers have been briefing the president's attorneys about what he has told investigators. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
It is completely legal for Manafort's attorneys to brief the Trump administration, and some believe that will increase Manafort's chances of being pardoned. The president also looking at ways to stop General Motors from getting rid of thousands of jobs and shutting down 5 auto plants. The president tweeted saying, "We are now looking at cutting GM subsidies, including for electric cars." GM stock started to drop following the tweet. The restructuring plan shifts GM's focus from sedans to more popular trucks and SUVs. But President Trump says tariffs are the reason Americans buy trucks, tweeting, "If we did that with cars coming in, many more cars would be built here, and GM would not be closing their plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland."
We'll see what the president does with auto tariffs, which in theory would help GM, but the way global supply chains work, the auto industry, including U.S. automakers, really don't want to see it.
The president preparing to sign his reworked NAFTA trade deal with Canada and Mexico Friday during his trip to Argentina for the G20 summit. And auto manufacturing is a big part of those negotiations. Trump is also expected to push China on trade at the G20 summit. And the GM announcement will likely be a part of those bilateral talks as well. China is a large consumer of GM trucks and SUVs. We are learning more about the measures Republicans hope to pass in a lame duck session before Governor-elect Tony Evers is sworn into office. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says Republicans don't have the support they need to pass a tax break bill for Kimberly-Clark. That would give the company $100 million in incentives to keep its Fox Valley plant open and save upwards of 500 jobs there. No Democrats have said they'll vote for the bill. Republicans also talking about moving the 2020 presidential primary from April to March and limiting the governor's power to enact administrative rules. The lame duck session could begin as early as next week. Wisconsin's Attorney General says places like wedding barns should have to buy a liquor license before serving beer and wine at events. Right now, anyone with a barn or similar venues on their properties does not need an alcohol license to rent it out for events. In an informal opinion earlier this month, Attorney General Brad Schimmel wrote that there is no distinction between bars and other public places that host open events and a public place that's rented out for a limited guest list. Barn owners say the license costs $10,000 up front, and since some of them operate just 6 months out of the year, that alone could put them out of business. There's a private send-off plan for nearly 400 Wisconsin National Guard soldiers deploying to Afghanistan this winter. Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish and senior Guard leaders will gather with the troops' families and friends for a ceremony at Lambeau Field tomorrow. The Appleton Post-Crescent reports the send-off is not open to the public. The soldiers being deployed are from the Appleton-based 2nd Battalion, 127th Infantry. It'll be part of a NATO-led mission to provide training and support to Afghan security forces. That deployment was announced in September. And there's a special Christmas tree in northern Wisconsin that is dedicated to finding a missing teenager.
We run on hope right now, and that's what this tree symbolizes, and it just brings a smile on my face.
Staff at the Barron County Justice Center have decorated this tree to 13-year-old Jamie Kloss, who's been missing for more than a month now. The clerk of court says she and her co-workers each took a different task, making the tree skirt, buying bulbs, tying on ribbons, all to bring officers some sense of holiday happiness as they continue to go through tips. They also want to show Jamie's family they're still hanging on to hope of finding her. Quick Trip is recalling some parfaits because they may contain pieces of cashews or almonds, items not listed in the ingredients section. The issues with the Kitchen Craving strawberry and mixed berry parfaits in an 8.25-ounce cup. Quick Trip says it recalled the product after a chocolate-covered cashew or almond was discovered in granola mix from an outside supplier. The parfait had a sell date of December 6th. And there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Are all ribs created equal? No, siree. And we have a dish that proves it. We're a nation that loves our baby back and spare ribs, and that's whether they're dry rubbed or slathered with barbecue sauce. Here in the test kitchen, we think short ribs are one of the most overlooked cuts in the meat case. They're called short ribs because they're short in length, and they come from a cut of beef called the short plate. You see, the short plate is located right next to the flank and the brisket, so you know whatever you make with these is gonna be good. So let me show you how to make some amazing short ribs. We started by dredging these in some seasoned flour and browning them in a heavy soup pot. Once they're browned, we add some cut up carrots, celery, and onions, along with a can of condensed beef broth to add a nice rich flavor, some water, a bit of fresh garlic, and a bay leaf. Then all we do is cover it and let it simmer for an hour and a half or so until the meat is fall off the bone tender. You see, the meat gets super tender while it cooks, and all the flavors from the veggies simmering in the broth create a sauce that is incredibly delicious. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our braised country short ribs so you can serve your family what we think is the best of the best. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a tender as can be way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, thank you, Howard. The sun is beginning to peek out a little bit here in southern Wisconsin, but snow is possible overnight. Your first alert forecast coming up after the break. Our call for action phone bank is open right now. We're ready to take on your consumer issues and call the hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. And you are not alone if you dream about retirement and troubles instead of breakfast at Tiffany's. Here's Diane King Hall with today's Money Watch report.
The U.S. economy grew 3.5% during the third quarter. That's according to the latest reading from the Commerce Department. Stronger investment from the business sector helped offset weakening consumer spending. Tiffany lost some of its luster in early trading. Shares of the luxury jewelry retailer fell after the company reported sales that missed expectations. Same-store sales rose a paltry 2%. Analysts were expecting more than double that, and quarterly profit fell to $94.9 million. 2 years after Hyundai launched its Genesis luxury car division, it's taken home Motor Trend's Car of the Year award. The Genesis G70 luxury sports sedan won top honors. Judges called it smooth, quiet, fast, upscale, nimble, and a great value. It starts at around $35,000. Fiat Chrysler's Ram 1500 was named Truck of the Year, and Jeep Wrangler was named SUV of the Year. More than half of Americans dream about retirement 4 or more times a week. That's according to a recent survey by Provision Living. As for where people want to spend their sunset years, 78% want to retire in the U.S. versus abroad. People generally prefer warmer climates. The top cities are Miami, San Diego, and Denver. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Thank you, Diane. The Dow Industrial is up 437 points at the noon hour. There's talk that they might slow down the interest rates at the Federal Reserve. The NASDAQ up 133. Let's check in with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. Breaking news: people prefer warmer places to retire to.
I know. I was going to say, and I've thought about retirement at least 4 times since she started talking. So, yeah, I'm with you. And if we're going to get freezing drizzle tomorrow, I'll really be thinking that way. So, yeah, good to see that the Dow Jones is coming back. For anybody thinking about retirement, you've probably been paranoid about your 401k, your IRAs. Hopefully, we're starting to regain some of that ground. I know that's what's happening in Chicago today. As far as news is concerned, thank you very much for all your support on Giving Tuesday. Got a note from the Wisconsin FFA Foundation that they exceeded their goal. They had initially been hoping for about $7,500 in donations. Compure Financial had decided they were going to match dollar for dollar up to $2,500, and got the good news today that they raised over $8,700 in a day for the Wisconsin FFA Foundation. So good news there. The markets are focused in on a 9.9 million bushel announcement today of our U.S. soybean bound for an unknown destination. We've had a lot of that since all the tariff talk started. Not sure where they're going, but that is a good sign, and traders are feeling better about it today. So soybeans are the rallying point for our markets today. Corn's coming along. Wheat's actually been a little quiet, despite the fact that we had a big sale that's going to Egypt of U.S. wheat. Still can't quite get our legs under us there. And of course, there is still plenty of anxiety in the marketplace on what's going to be said or tweeted or discussed Friday and Saturday with that G20. Most of the commodity folks say they believe it's going to be a bust more than a breakthrough when it comes to agriculture and our commodity tariffs. Dairy markets today, again, a little on the sluggish side, despite the fact that fluid milk contracts are trending higher. Barrel cheese today, down a penny at $1.24. 40-pound block cheese up a half at $1.36. Double A butter down a penny and a half, $2.20 a pound. And I just want to remind folks, Mark, take advantage of this moderate weather today. We're in Madison at the Howard Johnson's off East Washington for our travel meetings, going to Holland. I just got done seeing the pictures of the completed itinerary, and it is going to be fantastic. Not only, the regular tourist stuff that you'd see like Anne Frank's house, but you go along with me and you get a chance to see cutting-edge agriculture in Holland, all the Gouda cheese market, the Alsmeer flour market. We're going to take you there. So we've got meetings 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. today on the east side of Madison, tomorrow Janesville, and Friday in Platteville. So hopefully folks get out there because we've had good turnout.
When are you going?
April 5th through the 13th.
Oh, it's tulip season.
Yeah. Put your vacation request in now, dude.
All right. Well, I'm Dutch.
Oh, there. See?
There
you
you
can
go.
translate for us or something.
Or something. All right. We'll see you later. Dave is here now, and we're looking at a little snow. I don't think we don't need to oversell this.
Right. I don't think so either. And just with regards to being Dutch or not, I am not Dutch, but I like to pay Dutch a lot. So don't go out to lunch or dinner with me. That's my advice. My advice right now is don't worry about that snow just yet, because we have high pressure over us across much of the Midwest. We can see that low pressure system off in the distance. That will bring in some light snow later on tonight. But High pressure keeping us dry right now, even though we have had the clouds on the increase, especially in spots like Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Snow depth, some of us really just don't need any more of it. You can see that very, very sharp cutoff just to the south and east of Madison. Some spots really raking in a lot of snow from that last system, and we have a little bit more on the way. We're generally talking about an inch of snow, so really nothing to get too excited or worried about. However, tomorrow morning, maybe a little bit of freezing drizzle mixing in at times, so some slick spots are possible for the Thursday morning commute. Again, just give yourself a few extra minutes. I think we should be fine. That dry air is keeping that snow from entering southern Wisconsin for the most part, but that will change later on tonight. I think that's when that snow, light snow, starts to develop across our neck of the woods. Downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, we're looking at that mostly cloudy sky, a little bit of sun still breaking through, so that's good news. Not really going to help our temperatures, though. 29, the forecast high today, still running about 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. We're at 28 in Janesville, 28 in Mineral Point, and 27 in Lone Rock. Tried to find a different temperature there. Our 24-hour temperature change, that's actually a little bit warmer, so we're noticing the improvement. Pretty good, but we could get a little bit warmer, and we will over the next couple of days. Our snow chances, they start to go up a little bit by the time we get to later on this evening into the overnight hours. Some light snow is possible, and a few flakes still could be around for Thursday. I do think we stay mostly dry before our next system comes in for this weekend. That could be a little bit messier, so that is worth watching. Future track over the next couple of hours or so still should remain quiet, but that snow starts to develop as we head into later tonight and early tomorrow morning. This latest run of Future Track has been actually a little bit more of a dampening effect, not too much falling across southern Wisconsin, which is good news for some of us. However, there is the chance of seeing some of those snow showers overnight and early tomorrow morning. Then we stay pretty quiet and cloudy on Friday as well, to start Friday, that is. I'm really thinking not too much in the way of accumulation, about an inch of snow maximum for southern Wisconsin. Still, maybe a few slick spots early tomorrow morning. Then you can see still that active weather pattern that we're in, and temperatures getting a little bit warmer for Saturday and Sunday, but still that weather bears watching. Lots of chances for precipitation.
Very active. All right, Dave, thank you. We'll be right back. A New Jersey girl wrote a letter to Santa during a trip to Lowe's. She asked Santa to help her friend going through a rough time. Cleve Bryan shares the good stemming from this letter.
Writing a letter to Santa is not only a good way to let the big guy up north know what you'd like for Christmas, at Lowe's in Millville it's something for kids to do while the adults shop. And before mailing the letters to Mr. Claus, employees enjoy reading copies in the break room.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
I would like a go-kart. I want a Barbie doll. I want a robot.
One letter in particular touched everyone, a little girl asking Santa to help her friend.
My friend lost her dad, and her family is living in a friend's backyard.
Please help. I hope it is okay to not ask for a present. Sincerely, Riley.
What went through your mind, what went through your heart when you read that?
Well, that there's still a kid that's really selfless and wants to do something for one of her friends, and also that there's a child out there that's in this situation during the holiday season.
Department manager Kevin Betchner wanted to find Riley and see how to help her friend, so he posted the letter to social media. Within a day, thousands of people shared the letter, eventually reaching Riley Bylone's family in Buena Vista.
So I really wanted to help her and tell Santa Claus. I mean, he's the man that can do everything on Christmas, so I think he can really help.
Tony and Jenna Bylone checked with their daughter's school and learned Riley's friend's situation wasn't exactly as the 9-year-old described, but a social worker is following through. Meanwhile, mom and dad couldn't be prouder that all their daughter wants for Christmas is to help others.
It was a proud moment as a father, just to see her heart and to want to bless somebody other than herself.
We're trying to create a servant's heart in her, and just to love like Jesus does.
I'm very happy that people like my letter, and I hope that when they read it, they'll help others.
Good for her.
Yeah.
A little traffic update.
Yes, Verona Road and Raymond Road. There's some there. Oh. Do we?
We'll see you back here.
Now.